Hello and welcome to Geology 101. This is your physical geology lecture and lab class. My name is Todd Luther. I will be your instructor for this class. So I'm just making this video to give you a quick tutorial on how the class is going to work, where to find some things, how to check your grades. Hopefully you're kind of used to Canvas. We've all been doing this online thing for a while, it seems. So it won't be too much of a shock to navigate through Canvas. So once you get used to how this class is set up, try to do it so that it's consistent week to week. So once you kind of get into the swing of things from the first week and on, you'll kind of get used to how the format is, how things are laid out. It'll stay that way throughout the whole semester. So it should be easy to follow and to understand when things are due and things like that. So you can see there's not a whole lot of navigation tools that you need to work through this class. So this is the main home page. Just has some general information about what the class will cover and some things I'd like you to do the first week, including watch this video, which will end up there. And so what I'd like you to do the first week, besides doing a module, so every week you will have a module. It'll have some content that I'll ask you to go through, read, watch, and then take some quizzes / do some homework for. You'll access that just through this modules link. But the very first thing would be nice is to kind of take a quick peek at the syllabus. So you can see there's ways to contact me through email. Canvas is usually the best. Remember your little inbox over here. You can just send me a message. That is 100% the best way to contact me, because I have it set up in Canvas that every time someone emails me, it's forwarded to my phone and I get a notification. So if you're working on some content and you're not sure of what you're doing, or it's unclear of what you need to know, you can send me an email and it'll pop up on my phone. And most of the time I'll respond quickly, even though I have these little office hours here that are kind of a short little window. I'm around the whole day, so even if you're odd hours, just throw me the email. I try to at least respond to let you know that I got it. Something quick I can fix, I'll do it. Otherwise, you might have to wait just a little bit so I can run to my computer and kind of take things, fix things for you, or help you with something. And so, what else we want to do? So we have a phone number. That's my office. You can leave me a message there. I guess no one's going to be in my office because we can't be on campus. Let's see. You can see how things are weighted here. So you have a bunch of assignments that you'll get to do and some lab material. And so same thing, you should read through this. It generally describes how the class is designed, how you'll be evaluated, and things like that. There is no book to buy for this class. There's this kind of really cool book it's an open book. Anyone can use it. It's on the web. And so I'll be referring to that here and there. You don't have to read it, but certainly it's going to cover a lot of the topics that we're going to cover. Sometimes I'll specifically say, hey, I want you to read this, go through this textbook, online textbook, and read this, and I'll ask you some questions about it. Other times I'll just refer to it and say, you know, here I have this content that's explaining plate tectonics, and if you need additional information because you're struggling with that, you can always reference this book here. So make sure you take a look at that. What else? There's no real software requirements, just a browser, and of course PDF reader and a PowerPoint reader at the very least would be useful. But you should be able to have access to Microsoft 365 through the college, so make sure you check on that. And then this just describes how I'm going to give you the information. So you basically have a lecture portion that's going to consist of these 4 components: a PowerPoint or some overall information about the topic we're doing that week, and then an article that relates to that, a video that relates to that in some way, and a homework that relates to that in some way. These first 3 will be quizzes that you'll have to take once you go through the content, read it, do whatever you have to do, understand it, and then you can take the quiz. Those are timed quizzes. And then you have a homework where it is not timed. It's actually to do an activity. So whether it's read and answer something or perform something and turn it in, those aren't timed events, and so you can just work through those at your own pace. You do have an entire week to work through the content. So the time frame, of course, this week with Martin Luther King Day, it's going to be off just a hair. But typically every Monday at 6 a.m. you have access to that week's content, and you can work through it however you'd like, but it must all be completed by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And of course, I know you've heard this a bazillion times, you shouldn't wait until Sunday night to do all the work, because although some things might go pretty fast, the overall of all the content will take you some time. And even though I try to respond as quickly as I can, 10, 11 o'clock Sunday night is not usually the best time to try to contact me. So what I would suggest is that early on you actually look at what you need to do. I'll show you where you can kind of browse over everything that needs to be completed that week. And then you can make a plan. Oh, I'll do this activity and that one, and I'll save that one for a little later. But certainly start early. Okay, what else you got? Let's see. The lab portion for here is very similar. You're going to do a lab activity, then you're going to have a lab quiz. For this class, a lab is actually not going to be a quiz or an activity for the lab exercise within Canvas. It's going to send you to a web page, so there's a link, and then you're going to do the activity on that web page. And then you'll record your score. If you feel comfortable about how you did on the lab portion, then you'll take the lab quiz, which is actually a quiz in Canvas. Now the good thing about the lab is that you can take the lab and repeat it as many times as you would like. I'll show you a quick little preview of that, but once you go to the lab, you're going to walk through it. It's going to ask you questions. You're going to answer those throughout the lab. Once you've answered the question, though, you can't go back and change it, so it'll score it immediately right there. You'll work your way through all the questions, and at the very end, you'll submit your score. If you don't like your score, or you want to improve your score, or you didn't understand something, you can then just go right back and repeat the lab exercise to improve your score, and you'll send that one. Only record the highest points, the highest score that you received. Once you feel comfortable that you understand the content there, then you can go into Canvas and take the quiz on that. And this is what this explains here, so you can read through that. And this is how everything's broken down grade-wise. The other thing to be aware of is if you miss a full week of assignments, you can be withdrawn. So the key to everything, I know it's tough with all the technology, we don't see each other, but is just keep me in the loop, communication. Send me an email if you're struggling. Send me an email if life gets in the way and you can't get to some assignments. Especially, of course, if you're having trouble understanding the content, you need to just contact me. Just throw me an email, tell me what's up, and then we'll figure a way to get you through all that. So make sure you're contacting me if you run into some trouble. So if I don't hear from you or I can't contact you, then I really can't help you. And then the rest of the stuff is just kind of typical syllabus stuff that you should kind of take a look through. Academic, honesty, and a whole bunch of other stuff of how online classes work, which I said you probably are pros by now. So make sure you read through that, because one of the things I want you to do is go to the modules page here and complete this little acknowledgement. And so you can click here, it'll take you to, just a little more information about the class, another link to the same video you're watching right now. And then here you can take the quiz. And so if we take the quiz, what does it say? Okay, so you check, because you actually read it. And then you hit submit it. And then I know that you are interested in staying in the class. Because of course, if I wait too long and you decide you hate the class and you want to get out, you can't get your money back if I don't withdraw you in a timely manner. So if you want to stay in the class, complete this at the very least. It's due on Thursday, so that way I know that even if you're not going to get to the work until the weekend, at least I know not to withdraw you from the class. There is a second thing here where you can check. Let me see if I can jump out of here. And yes, in student view. So here there's a place where you can just kind of write some stuff if you want to tell me anything about yourself or some issues you might have, or anything you feel like sharing, you can just type it in there so I can read it. And if you have other issues you're struggling with, or jobs, or everybody's got their thing, if you feel the need to share, you can do that there. Okay, this is how all of the modules will look. You'll have an intro page that is an overview of everything you're going to do that week. And then you'll actually have where you'll submit or take the quizzes for that module. So this is the lecture portion. It consists of 4 things. And so if we want to take a quick look at that, and you can see here it says complete white on. You have to view this page before you can jump to all this stuff. So for every module, it's the same. You have to view this first page before you can access any of the other pages. So I just want you to be able to come here. You'll get a quick introduction to what we're doing. You'll see the content here. There's a PowerPoint and a PDF I need you to go through. There's a little video that's just an overview of science. There is an article that I want you to read about how they're drilling into the Earth, because for the first week we're going to cover the Earth's interior, so we're jumping right into it, although there is a little bit just about science in general. And then there is a video about the Earth's interior. So each one of these, the video, the article, and this content here, there will be a specific quiz based on the content right here. So there'll be a lecture quiz, an article quiz, and a video quiz. And then for this week's homework, you're just going to read through this chapter in that online book I mentioned, and then you'll answer some questions. Not a timed quiz. It is set up like a quiz because that's how Canvas handles things. There's no time limit. So you read through it and you go in, you answer the questions, you submit it, and you're done. For these other 3, because they're timed, of course, you need to make sure you understand the content and then say, yes, I want to take the quiz. The clock will start and you'll work your way through the questions and then you'll submit it and you'll be done, right? So you can only take any of these quizzes just once. Of course, like I said, the homework, you can, open it and answer some, come back later. Because there's no time limit, you can take as long as you like for that. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to the modules for a minute. And then you'll see, now that we've done our completed task, I can jump to one of these things and just look at it. But then the second part is going to be the lab here. And so, same thing, you come here and it's going to just tell you what you're going to do in lab today. The first lab is just an introduction lab. And then we're going to come over here, and here is the link to the lab. So you are going to click here. It's going to open a new window, and this window is going to have information about the lab that you'll do that week. Okay, and so you start the lesson, and of course, basically the lab is going to tell you how to do the labs, but they're all set up the same way. So you'll work through some different pop-ups and quizzes, but basically throughout the lab, you'll see these little notebooks with little quiz me. And then this thing will pop up, and you'll need to answer this question. And so, what is he looking at? Cows, no. Aliens, oh, maybe some petroglyphs. I like that answer, check answer. And it says, boom, you got that. You can now go on. And so, up here in the upper right, you can see I have 1 out of 50. So I get to keep going. And you're going to do that for all the labs will be just like this. They'll have different parts to them. You'll move through, click those, get points, until you come to the very end. And so once you've come to the very end, you're going to type in your name. Just as your name as it appears in the class roster would be helpful for me. But as soon as you type that name in and hit email score, it'll send me an email of the score you got. Now remember, I was saying that once you choose an answer for this, you can't go back and change it. So you can go through, you'll answer all the questions, and you'll know when you're going to submit it what your score is. Submit it. If you like your score and you understood it, both of those, awesome, then you can go back to Canvas and take the quiz over the lab material and you're good. But if you didn't do well or you didn't understand something, you can go back through and, of course, correct the ones you got wrong and retake and then resubmit it. Send me another email. That's the one I'll keep if it's a higher score. And of course, at any point that you're doing any of the content and you're stuck, send me an email. Of course, we can jump back to our Canvas and we can run over here and click the inbox and send me an email while you're working on it. There is no time limit for this lab. So same thing, you work your way at your own pace, you kind of figure it out. Once you get it all figured out, you're going to go next here, and here's the quiz. This is time, 20 minutes, 10 questions, boom, right over whatever you just did in that lab. Then you go ahead and take that, and you'll be done with the lab component. And so every week, it'll be identical to that. So this is the first week's content you'll need to work through. It is due on the 24th, which is Sunday. Next week, at Monday at 6 a.m., this will become available to you. So you'll have the intro page that shows you everything you're going to have to complete that week. And then the quizzes are here. The homework is here. You'll come to the labs. You'll do the labs. You'll jump to that web page. You'll go through the labs, answering the questions. You'll email me your score. You're happy. You go here. You take the quiz. Voila, you're done. And then we're just going to do that apparently 16 more times. And so they'll all be set up that way. Each of them will have a video usually that explains what's going on or explains how things work. If you go to the quiz, did I do that here? Let's check it out. Nope, I didn't do that. So I could throw a little quiz here, but like I said, or a little video here, but most of the labs are pretty self-explanatory, and in reality, this lab is really explaining how labs work, so there's no real point of making a lab video. But I will make videos for lectures and other content stuff. If it's helpful, we'll kind of put it up there so you can kind of go through the PowerPoint or go through the video or both. What else? Try not to make this too long. Of course, your grades, you can check your grades at any time. You should be checking those a lot. So go in and check your grades to make sure I didn't make a mistake or I didn't give you a 0 or something didn't go through. And if you see a discrepancy, please contact me. Now, getting back to grades for just a second. When you take these quizzes, there are a variety of questions. Some are multiple choice. Some are short answer. Some are matching. Some are little essays. Some are fill in the blanks. And so how the lecture content works, these 3 anyway, because this is just an assignment you'll just turn in. But anytime there's a quiz of any kind that you're putting in information and you're submitting it, in some cases, the questions that can be auto-graded will be auto-graded. But let's say in the lecture here, there's 10, I think there's 12 questions on this one. And so maybe 8 of them will be auto-graded. There'll be 4 that I'll have to grade myself. And so you won't get your score until I go in and manually kind of go through and grade those. Every once in a while, there's an issue with if you fill in the blank, it'll mark something wrong, or you'll type something and it won't be perfect. And Canvas is looking for matching answers that I submit. So if you type something wrong, spell it wrong, it'll mark it wrong. Now, I always go back through. Even there are a few quizzes where I don't have to do any manual grading and everything is auto-graded. I'll always go back through and check to see if there's a spelling mistake or if you typed something wrong or it was close and it marked it wrong, but I would still accept it, that kind of thing. So I will go back and check if there's an error. But if you notice that there is one and you'd like to email me and say, hey, I just took the article quiz for the interior of the Earth. In question 4, it marked me wrong and I think I'm right. Perfect. I'll go back and check it out and let you know. And so if you want to do that, that's great. Like I said, be aware that I will go back through these and make sure that everything's getting graded correctly so there isn't any issues with that. But I'll take any communication you want. That's awesome. Okay. Wow, that seems short. I'm sure I forgot a bunch of stuff that I want to tell you. But for now, I think we're pretty close to it. We did grades, modules, syllabus, announcements, emails, right? Contacting me that way. What else we got going on? I think we're good. Holy cow. Okay, so any other questions that you have, of course, during the week, like I said, it's all about communication. Just drop me a line, and I will do my best to help you with this. This is a self-paced class, so you can do the work as you see fit, but you've been told this before, I'm sure, by everybody. Don't wait till the last minute. It just stresses you out. So, like I said, a good technique is to visit this first page, which I'm kind of forcing you to do anyway in each module, to see what the load is like. How much work do I have to do? There might be a video that's 15 minutes. You're like, a piece of cake. There might be a 50-minute video. That's a little more time you have to invest. Right? The PowerPoint might be bigger. The homework might be more extensive. So, you want to kind of get a barometer on how much work you're going to have to put in to get it done so that you might want to piece it out throughout the week. So that is obviously the best advice I can give you on how to work through the class. Other than that, I look forward to hearing from you in one way or another. Good luck in the class, and as always, Please send me any questions that you have, and I will do my best to help. Okay.